let's go bottom left hand target. Safety's off. And again, this is just a group test, so I'm not too bothered whether I'm on the cross or not. Although saying that was bang on the cross. Hello and welcome to the Gun Locker. I'm Mark and this is the Daystate Huntsman Regal in .177. And welcome to part 2 of this 2-part review. And part 2 is all about accuracy and performance, and what you're about to see is me shooting outside at 30 meters with this very accurate rifle, no two ways about it. And what's really nice about it is that also it's not pellet fussy, which is, you know, a big thumbs up from me. It does have some issues and I'll talk about those after the footage, but for now, hope you enjoy that, and I'll catch you back in here afterwards and we can have a good chat and I'll go through its 5-star rating. Hi guys, so I'm outside with the Daystate Huntsman Regal. So this rifle dates back to 2015, 16, that sort of time. What I'm going to do is a pellet test just to see how friendly this barrel is with different types of pellets, and we're going to start off with the Air Arm Diablo Fields, and then we'll go on to some JSB Exacts, follow it up with some Golden Trophy FTs, the heavies, some Webley Accupels, cheap and cheerful, and some Bisley long range golds. So you'll see downrange 2 A4 pieces of paper. I'm going to be using the left sheet of paper for this test, and I'm going to put 10 pellets in each of those 5 targets there, just to see how good I can group with the pellets that I've got. And then once I've picked the pellet that I like, I'll use the right hand sheet of paper for the accuracy test. Now, apologies, but if you've seen my other video, you'll know that I'm on the tail end of COVID, so I've also got a bit of a bad chest infection because of it. So I'm struggling to breathe and I'm also struggling to talk, but I really do want to get these tests out of the way, and looking at the weather forecast, this is the best day we're going to get for another week or so, so I'm really going to try and get this done. My accuracy is affected because my heart rate is slightly elevated and I'm struggling with my breathing, but saying that, I didn't have a bad test on the Air Arms S510, so I'm hoping I can do the Daystate some justice as well. Anyway, let's find out, shall we? So without further ado, I'll load up with the Air Arms Diablo Fields. Now what I will say is I've taken a few shots just to sight the rifle in, and I'm struggling with this, with the indexing of the pellets. It's not as smooth as the Air Arms S510, that's for sure, but we'll give it a go. And also the stock for me is a little bit short, so I feel a little bit hunched up when I'm shooting, but saying that, you know, so far so good. Anyway, let's go bottom left hand target. Safety's off. And again, this is just a group test, so I'm not too bothered whether I'm on the cross or not. Although saying that, that was bang on the cross. I don't know if you noticed them, but I was struggling to index the pellet. For whatever reason, when you cock the rifle and then push the probe back in, it just seems to jam a little bit. That's me out. Not a bad group, considering I'm not at top form. So the next one, JSB Match Diablo Exacts. There we go. So bottom right hand target. And again, first shot is bang on the cross. Out. Right, not much between those, so let's go for something a little bit different. Let's go for the Norma Golden Trophy. These are the FT Heavies. I'm expecting there to be a drop on the shot here because obviously slightly heavier pellet. Well, that's loaded up, that's in. Norma Golden Trophy Field Targets, or FTs Heavy. Let's give these a go. So let's go on the centre target. I'm out. That was a really nice group, and the drop, to be fair, wasn't as much as I was expecting, so yeah, happy with that. Time for some cheap and cheerful Accupels. Now this tin, if you'd seen my last video, it's probably about, I don't know, it must be 20 years old. I found them in the cupboard and I thought, why not give them a go? I've only got a few left, but They used to be the staple pellet for me, a shooter years ago. Load it up. So let's go top left target for this one, and this is the AccuPels. That was bang in the centre of the cross. I was expecting that one to go wayward, but it didn't. It went quite well. That was a bad. That you could see that pellet just veer off there. It must have been dented skirt. I'm out. So that's almost. Again, the one thing with indexing these pellets, you go to feed that cocking bolt in, and then you hit some resistance and it just won't go, so you pull it back a little bit. It's almost like you're having to tease the pellet into the breech. Not keen on that. So what have we done? Yeah, so it just leaves us with the busy long range goals. Okay, so busy long range goals. And we'll go top right hand target. Yeah, this is that was me pulling it. I was going to say this is a really nice group, and then I just felt myself drop as I pulled that trigger. Right, I'm out. Honestly guys, I think from what I can see there, let me just have another look. Yeah, it's a busy long range golds. That's what we're going to go for. Not much between them and the Normas. To be fair, I mean the rifles performed really well with all the pellets. And I mean this is real time, it's not sped up, so you can see that I'm not really taking my time between the shots. So what I'll do is on the right hand piece of paper now, I'll do an accuracy test, and I'll put a pellet in each of the outer targets like I normally do, and then I'll finish off with a group in the center target, and I'll measure the distances from the center of the cross to the point of impact, the size of the group, and that'll give me some figures to put into my formula, and I'll be able to give you a score for accuracy. So that's it, that's loaded up. Okay, let's see how I do with this, and hopefully I don't let myself down, or the gun. So Bisley long range golds. Oops. Yeah, I'll sort that out in a bit. Alright. So bottom left hand target. Bottom right hand target. Top right hand target. Top left hand target. And now for the group. I'm out. I have to say, I'm really happy with that group, and I'm really happy with the accuracy of the individual targets. This last set of 10 shots, yeah, that's good, considering that I'm not at best form. That was easy, that felt nice. The trigger is just nicely balanced, it's not too fine, not too light. And I was struggling with the air arms because that was a little bit too light for me, but this one's quite nice. What I don't like about it is the indexing of the pellets, but saying that, yeah, it's an accurate rifle. It really is an accurate rifle. Right guys, I'll see you inside. Okay, so you've seen the results. I'm not on best form. And in all honesty, you know, if I was, I think I could get that group tighter, and if I spent a little bit more time just zeroing the rifle in with these Bisley long range golds, I'd probably be hitting that cross each and every time. You'll notice from the footage that I just went straight from the accuracy test, straight from the group test onto the accuracy test without doing any adjustment on the scope. Normally I would take a little bit of time just to zero in the rifle for the pellet. However, I didn't need to do that. It's still pretty damn accurate. And let me just put this into perspective. I mean, I am going to go through the 5-star rating. I'll do that in a second. But everybody likes to do the 5p test, okay? So the 5p test, basically the diameter of that 5-penny piece is 18mm. My group centre to centre was, let me just say, 9.8mm. So if I put that, I'll see if I can do this so that you guys can see it. It very easily, the 5-penny piece very easily covers the group. So let me go through the 5-star rating, and I'll sum it all up at the end. But to start with, an overall score of 3.8, and it's 3.8 out of 5 stars. It's not quite matched the Air Arms S510 because of some of the issues that the rifle's got, and I will go through each one of those topics as I normally do. So let's make a start, and you'll probably see where the differences are. So handling, I gave it 3.8 out of 5 stars. A weight of 4.02 kilos or 8.86 pounds, and the point of balance is 490 millimeters from the butt pad. The rifle is short in the stock for me, and I did feel as if I was quite kind of hunched up. I'd rather the stock be a little bit longer. Not to say that the stock isn't beautiful, because it is, but it's just made for a slightly smaller person. So yeah, 3.8 out of 5 stars, and I think that's fair. Now, this is where the rifle lets itself down, and this is why we've got an overall score of 3.8 out of 5 stars instead of 4.2 or 4.4, even 4.5 out of 5 stars. And it comes down to loading the rifle. The mags, you know, they're really easy to load. They're lovely. Not like the Turkish rifles where most of them have a plastic faceplate that you've got to rotate, clockwise, and then you let it feed in and it goes bang, 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 blah, blah, blah. There's no cover to take off. You just drop your pellet in. However, the magazine size, it's only a 10 shot capacity, and in a .177 nowadays that's quite low. But it's the indexing that has really let this rifle down. You would have noticed that every time I cocked the rifle and then went to push that probe back, it's almost as if I came against some resistance. I had to ease off and feed that pellet back in again. You're almost tickling it into the breech. And there was a couple of times where it didn't jam, but I almost had to waggle the magazine in the breech to try and align the probe. Now, 2 issues with that. One, you lose the what's the word that I'm looking for? You know, when you're sighted in and you take your shot, and then you're kind of in that position, you're in that zone and you're on target. Well, if anything breaks that zone, breaks your level of concentration, then it's going to affect your accuracy. And each and every time I had to kind of feed that pellet in, so it's a little bit frustrating, and it does play on your mind. Secondly, when you're pushing that probe in and it doesn't locate first time, then you wonder, is it going to deform the skirt of the pellet as it pushes it into the breech? If there's any sideward movement on there, then it's bound to, and it's going to affect your accuracy. So unfortunately for loading the rifle, I've given it 2.8 out of 5 stars. Yeah, it's a real shame. Now, I haven't shot the Revere or any other Daystate with a cocking mechanism like this, so I'm hoping that with the newer models Daystate actually rectified that. I'm hoping so. I don't know. Maybe some of you can let me know. And you know, obviously drop some comments in. And by the way, guys, whilst I'm talking about comments, just recently I've had a couple of individuals that think it's okay to swear when they're commenting. It's not. I'm not going to allow it. I'm not going to allow any aggressive tone to a comment either. I don't see the point of it. If you guys have got issues, please keep it to yourself. I don't want to know. Those posts will be removed instantly, and like I've said before, we do have a younger audience. We do have respectful, gentle people watching the videos as well, and I do not want to cause them any offence. Plus, I don't need the aggro. And for one gentleman in particular, I'm not here to give advice. That's not what I'm doing. I am simply reviewing the rifle and giving my opinion on my experience of that rifle. That's it. Okay, I'm not a gun dealer, I'm not a gunsmith, I'm not a professional shooter. I think I'm okay, you know, and I've done all right in some in some world competitions, but you know, I'm still not a professional shooter. So please don't take this as advice. It is purely my opinion, my review on what I've experienced. Right, that aside, let's carry on. Trigger. What can I say except I've given it 5 out of 5 stars. Do you know, I went back and did a little bit more shooting after the footage that you've seen, and I really do like this trigger. It's got a very nice first stage. There's a definite break between first stage and second stage, you come to a stop. There's virtually no creep, and the let off is just sublime. It really is sublime, and it's weighted so nicely. It's not too light where you're thinking, oh, is it going to go? It's not too heavy where you're kind of pulling on the trigger and you're having to keep your hand shape right. It's just sublime. So I couldn't do anything else but give it 5 out of 5 stars. And this is why the loading part of the rifle was so annoying, because if it was just smoother, this gun, you know, it would be well up there on the 5-star rating. What can I say about accuracy? So accuracy, it scored 4.3 out of 5 stars. The single shot, so the let me just get to the bottom of this here. So the closest shot to the bull was 5.3 millimeters, or 0.21 inches. The furthest shot from the bull was 7.9 millimeters, or 0.31 inches, and the group size was 9.9 millimeters, or 0.39 inches. You know, it speaks for itself. And again, remember, I'm not at my top game. I'm still struggling with my breathing. I'm still struggling with controlling my heart rate. And for a gentleman that's just recently commented as well about taking my time between the shots, I mean, we have had some sort of discussion via posts backwards and forwards. But just to explain, I understand that after each and every shot you should just stay on target and you shouldn't move away, because it allows everything to balance. It allows your body to balance, it allows you to focus in on where you've taken the shot, and also it prevents snatching. It's like a lot of target shooting, and it's the same with archery. You know, you stay on point. Even with snooker, to be honest, when you're hitting the snooker ball, you know, and you follow through with a cue, you let it stay there, and obviously unless you're screwing the ball backwards. But the idea is that after you've taken the shot, you just stay motionless as best you can in order to lessen any chance of pulling the shot. I get that. The problem that I've got with my breathing is that if I do take my time, I can feel the rifle start to bounce, because I'm really struggling to control my heartbeat. So when I'm taking my shots, I'm trying to judge the movement. So that's why, to be honest, I'm really quite pleased with the results that I've got. But I do get the guys out there that are, you know, well into their shooting, and I understand their points. So yeah, that's just me explaining a little bit more about what's going on behind the trigger. So for accuracy, 4.3 out of 5 stars. On a good day, I reckon I could get that to 4.8, almost 5 out of 5 stars, I reckon. For power, now look, again, it's a good score. I've given it 4 out of 5 stars because it's achieving, what have I got here? Let me have a look. So using JSB Match Diablo exacts at 8.44 grains, it actually gave to a power output of 10.96 foot-pound, or 14.85 joules. So not quite in the 11-foot bracket, but it's up there, you know. Average speed of 765 feet per second, or 233 meters per second. So, you know, it's fast. There's obviously enough power there to put that pellet where it needs to go, and there's plenty of knocking down power there as well. So like I said, with the S510, at that speed, whatever it hits is not going to know it's been hit. Simple as that. It's just not. Right, air efficiency. So it's dropped a little bit here. Obviously it's got a smaller cylinder. I've scored it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Now, when I filled the rifle up, I took it to 200 bar and I shot it down to 110 bar. So it's used 90 bar, and in those within that 90 bar of pressure, I managed 90 shots. So we're getting 1 shot per bar, which is actually pretty good. So overall, 3.5 out of 5 stars. Now, when it comes to noise levels, without a moderator, it barks. It's kicking out 87 decibels, so you're definitely going to want to put a moderator on it. And because of that, it's okay. It's not excessively loud, but it's okay. And because it's okay, it's 3 out of 5 stars. And then finally, the biggie of all, or the most important, I suppose, question of all is it good value for money? Well, when I look at its price and when I look at the accuracy test, combine the two together, well, this rifle is £780 without the scope, without the mod. Obviously second hand, and you can't get it new now because it's been replaced by the Revere. So £780. If you're starting out, don't forget you're going to need an air supply, so that's going to be a diver's bottle of sorts. You're going to need a bipod because that doesn't come with bipod. You're going to need a scope. So realistically, you'll be spending another £400. And once you've added that to the 780, is it still good value for money? Well, actually, when I punch the figures into my program, I look at all the accuracy, it's coming out of 4.2 out of 5 stars. So guys, it's a good buy. It really is a good buy, but you kind of got to get your head over the cocking of the rifle. There's a little knack to it. Once you've got that knack, it becomes easier, it becomes kind of second nature, but you still have to get used to it. I suppose like most rifles, they have their quirks. Yeah, well, that's it. So that's this part 2 out of the way. 3.8 out of 5 stars, very, very strong score. Now, going forward, I've got loads more rifles to review. They're just kind of stacking up, so I'm going to try and get them out to you as quickly as I can. I'm hoping that my health is going to improve as I go along as well. But yeah, I've got some really interesting stuff. I've got a Diana to test, I've got some BSAs, I've got some FXs, I've got some, what else have I got? Another Daystate, I've got some more crowds coming, so there's a lot on its way. Saying that, just wanted to thank you for watching, and also if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Like I keep saying, those numbers are important to me. Please give us a thumbs up, and also share with your friends and family. And if you want to comment, you know, feel free to do so. I don't mind constructive criticism. Okay, I really don't mind that. I just don't like bad language, and I don't like aggressive behaviour. So yeah, please feel free to comment. What else? Of course, mustn't forget www.thegunlocker.uk. It's our online platform for anybody that wants to sell their rifles or shotguns or whatever accessories. Great place to buy a gun as well. Dealers are adding their bits and pieces on there regularly, so yeah, please support that. Well, that's it for now. I'd like to say goodbye, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.